transformation is no more a talk word, it's an action word now. And companies, enterprises across segments and across the value chain, across the years of existence and evolutions, have come to realize that they don't have the option but to go the digital way. It is creating a new world order where the companies who are not adapt to this change will be the dinosaurs and not be the squirrels, to say the least. So this conversation is part of the series that Economic Times and Microsoft have been taking it along, because when we decided that how can we be the change that we want to see in the digital transformation of enterprises and companies in India, we thought that open forums might not work, because there mostly the nice to know things get talked about and the need to know things don't get talked about. So hence these focus group discussions, hence these discussions where it's a peer-to-peer conversation between the heads of the organization. We have done 3 of such series of CEO roundtables. This is the concluding one. So we have with us Mr. Krishna Kumar, who's my colleague, co-moderator and anchor from ET Now. So Krishna, we've been talking about digital transformation over the years, and it is a discussion, right? But thankfully now it's an action word. So over the years, how do you see that digital transformation has evolved to make it a reality in our lives and times?
Hello and welcome to digital transformation. And that's literally been the case for companies, for people watching, for people dealing with companies, consumers. It's a big hello and welcome to digital transformation. You cannot look away from it. 20 years ago, you could have still been arguing back and forth, but we're in 2016 and there's no going back. It's going to keep going forward. That one thing is very clear. But then again, there are things about digital transformation that get discussed on a daily basis in popular platforms. And again, only the popular things get discussed. So here we are trying to get into the nitty-gritties of digital transformation. So hence, I'm going to start with Bertrand over here and ask him a very simple question. Digital transformation, it's not just about processes. It's about the way you think. It's about the way a company thinks. And you as Microsoft, how do you view this in the Indian market in terms of the cultural change that companies are willing to undergo or undergoing to create true digital transformation?
So, as I was saying earlier about my quote about digital transformation, it's not about technology at the end of the day. That might surprise some people coming from Microsoft. But I think that India is moving really fast in this digital transformation, much faster than we think sometimes. And we see the organization now leapfrogging some step that other mature markets had to go through before.
True. When it comes to leapfrogging and digital transformation, again, I'm going to start with the popular choice, which is the banking and financial services space. So, we have enough and more representation of that. Let's just start with Mr. Sandeep Srikhande then. Which phase of digital transformation is Kotak Mahindra, pension fund is? Are you re-looking at exiting processes? Give us an idea. He's saying we're leapfrogging. How is Kotak Mahindra pension fund leapfrogging this?
See, if you look at it, pension fund is the last entrant into the financial services market. If you look at banking, insurance, mutual funds, they've all been in existence for many years. So the biggest change which I'm seeing in pension fund is from day one, it is a digitized industry. In all the other industries, you were first in a physical mode, and then you move to digital for customer acquisition or for any other processes. So we've never had any physical records. We are born digital.
Unlike, say, Yes Bank, which is once upon a time was existing in physical records, and now no option but to go as digital as possible, isn't it, Asit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and in many ways, digital in many ways is another term for business transformation, because it's at the heart of the business and it's a reflection that customer behavior is changing. And some of the things we did which were quite innovative, we believe, was we went into digital API banking, which is application program interface, which effectively means banking from the ERP. So those were some of the things we did to actually look at it as more business transformation than one or two processes which you touch on. So if you can actually change the life of a customer, and if you look at digital from the eyes of a customer, I think that just takes it to the next level.
Just go to another banker quickly. Yeah. Mr. Kathuria, you heard out what Asit had to say about banking. You're the good people to bank with. Talk to us in terms of digital transformation and Union Bank.
I would like to recall my days when I joined the banking industry in early 80s. I was working in a branch at Sansad Marg where there were 100 lasers and average 250 accounts were there in a laser. So around 25,000 accounts were there. And we used to think one day there will be 1,000 lasers and there will be a general manager looking after one department. So now the time has changed so fast and I feel that branch is having now 10 lakh plus accounts and staff strength which was 275, it has come down to just 50. That is a revolution. So at Union Bank, starting with debit credit cards, internet, tab banking, e-lobbies, now we have issued DigiPurse, that is the mobile purses. New initiatives we have taken in the analytics also. Green PIN we are issuing. So a message goes through your internet or your mobile. So no need to send the hard copy of the PIN. So such initiatives are there.
Right. So, very, very valid point about the evolution per se. Abhijit, you work very closely with the customers, and we were talking about how you actually get into the heads of the CEOs. Tell us, what are the CEOs thinking when it comes to digital transformation?
What I would say is, in a company, I find the biggest champion of digital is the head of the company. So all of you in the room, you are the most savvy and aware of the potential of what digital can bring. And also what I'm seeing is CEOs in India, they're having a mindset that let's disrupt my own business before someone else does it. Another area which Mr. Oberoi has stressed is the real focus is around delighting the customers. How digital, whether it's through data, better understanding, how I can delight the customer experience. There is a genuine focus and need. People are working on it. Of course, each industry will take different times to get there. But this, I would say, in the top of their mind, how I can disrupt my business, how I can delight my customer.
Right. So, Mr. Marar, delighting the customer is all about the Bangalore International Airport, that the airport in the pocket model that you're taking it forward, and probably he spoke about the disruption also. So, probably Bangalore International Airport is a case study for all the other airports to imbibe and follow after the app and the hashtag. Airport hashtag where real-time flight information can be seen. How do you then see yourself riding the curve?
Archana, when we started our digital journey, our desire was to create a smart airport. Airport that's intuitive, that's digitally connected to its passengers, and that offers, let's say, seamless services. If you look at the way we travel today, for the strongest of people, I've seen them getting reduced to jellies at the mere prospect of taking a flight. It's actually quite an intimidating experience for many people, especially if it's an international flight, because you have to deal with multiple documents, you've got to deal with multiple agencies, you've got to deal with multiple processes at an airport. That's, at best, intimidating. Our idea is to look at each one of these touch points and simplify them. And the overriding philosophy that's guiding us is the fact that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. We want to try and simplify air travel as much as possible. In achieving this simplicity, what we've done is built a digital platform. And the digital platform then, airports, by the way, have always been platform businesses. And we've just taken that physical platform onto a digital scale. And this digital platform then is connected to multiple stakeholders. And what happens is that we bring together, integrate the roles played by multiple stakeholders on this platform to offer a seamless front end to the consumers. And the consumers don't even know where the role of one stakeholder ends and the other one begins, whereas at the back end, all of us are collaborating furiously. That's the philosophy that we applied. And the app, really, that you spoke about being the airport in the pocket, is really one of the front ends of that platform. Right. The aim was not to build an app. The aim was to build a platform that is scalable, that is sophisticated, and that can last you for the future. And the app that we have built is only a front end to that. Tomorrow, there can be another front end, there can be another device, and consumption of the service can happen through any medium. But building a sophisticated, strong, robust app was our focus. Platform was our focus.
Right.
And I guess that way you delight customers who are complaining about how far the Bangalore airport is from Bangalore to start with. But yes, Fair point. See? Good, good. I'm not the only one. But at the end of the day, then that means that Bengaluru is taking the lead as we speak into being the most connected, most advanced airport that doesn't intimidate people. It's a very valid point you made. When my folks go to the airport, I know what happens to them. It's like a bunch of processes, and technology is going to be the only solution So here's wishing Bengaluru Airport all the best, so that it becomes the most advanced, digitally transformed airport in the country, first up before other airports can catch up. And before Mr. Marai, we've got word in from the banking and financial services industry. And digital transformation is, the most popular choice is BFSI. Let's take this away from that and let's go to maybe shipping. And I'm going to ask Mr. Pahuja, not the most spoken about industry when it comes to digital transformation, but then again, so much can happen to the shipping industry with digital transformation, can't it?
Shipping per se is one, it's very capital intense. Second is it's so fragmented, and there are so many people who are into shipping. There are about over 50,000 ships trading worldwide, carrying about 95% of the world trade. Right? Despite this, it's very much fragmented, and any technology change has to go through all those people who are into shipping. Not everybody accepts it. It's because it's a cost to it, and they are happy to invest, or they are forced to invest. Either it gets paid back within 1 to 2 years, or it becomes a regulatory requirement. Then there is no choice. And that too, if these people will be happy to invest only if there is a residual life of a ship left, say about 5 years or more. Otherwise, they hesitate, or they try to find ways, they try to find dispensation from the authorities. And but of course, going back to the technology changes, yes, there are a lot of changes happening. A lot of improvements have taken place in past, I would say, 15 years. The equipments have changed. You can install hundreds of sensors all across the ship, who can who can transmit all kinds of data into the people sitting in office, and they can analyze the data and send back to the vessel, guide master, guide captain of the ship, whether this is the right route or should you deviate from the route. And eventually what is happening is the aim is to get into unmanned ships. And when will it happen? That's the question.
Bring in some technology solutions into the discussion. We have enough from the technology space. Well, I'm going to start with Mr. Sumit Ganguly of GAVS Technologies. You just heard out a challenge. Bertrand laid out a vision, and then a challenge came from shipping. You have a solution? Okay.
I wanted to give you an interesting insight into what we've been doing in the healthcare sector. A little bit of facts to kind of get you up for the morning. The second highest rate of death in New York City is suicide, between the age of 25 to 34. It's number 4 between 45 and 54. Now, how is it relevant to all this? We've been working with this company called Jewish Board Family Children's Services. They are the largest NGO providing behavioral health in the New York region. And unbeknownst to all of us, there's a significantly impecunious or poor Jewish folks in that part of the world. So what they've done, they've taken technology to a different level to actually assist in suicide counseling, in working on behavioral health. So what really happens is, when you talk about mental health, there's a tremendous disparity between mental health and physical health. Physical health is way up there, and we really don't talk about mental health. So one thing that has come in, they're working on value-based services in the mental health area, which is outcome, it's not platitude or feel good. So they've started working on telepsychiatry. So if you have a Bangladeshi or a Gujarati in Queens, he would like to have anonymity when he's speaking with a psychiatrist. So that's where telepsychiatry comes in. And instead of trying to find a Gujarati psychiatrist in that local area, you could have someone who's in the outskirts of Manhattan who's willing to speak with him or her. So that's really where technology is coming in and entirely disrupting the way healthcare is being provided.
And it is not always about the technology solution reducing the cost. It is about how you're making the partners more efficient. And since we are talking about the bottom of the pyramid, Mr. Virkhare, we spoke about the financial inclusion and how you're taking it head on. I'm sure a lot of bankers are around. So you finance the unfinanced, right? The SMEs and the micro and medium enterprises. Do tell us about what makes you, your whole business model viable, even when you are financing the SMEs and the MSMEs, probably a case study for all the other bankers to follow.
See, first of all, I think financial inclusion, this word need to be understood in a right perspective. Today, for me, financial inclusion for a villager, for example, opening a banking account is a financial inclusion. Even to the extent that you want to start with a content and you have an idea and you want to finance for that. Today, that finance is not available. That also is a financial inclusion. So financial inclusion is a very wide array of definition. For me, financial inclusion, possibly the way we are taking it forward, the point is digitization. I mean, one is to create your profile. I mean, first is identity, and second is profiling your customer so that right customers are approached by various institutions at the right point in time whenever he wants. So profiling and digitization is helping all these profilings. I mean, today possibly even in Uganda, I heard a lot many people doing SMS-based analysis for lending space. Even at our SL Finance, we are funding 2 unbanked, I mean, probably not very rural, but even Vada Pav guy in terms of the Bombay Stock Exchange. So these are certain kind of things that digital platforms are bringing in.
And Rakesh, we were talking about, you have a very interesting model for SMEs, since we are talking about SMEs. And you said that they don't have a go-to-market strategy. So you suggested 2 things. Service on subscription for SMEs will help them to be more in tune with times. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. I feel that there's a huge market in the SME sector if they get the right mix of, say, marketing support and distribution support. And I would like to compare it a little bit like the Amazon Web Services or Azure, right? What do these platforms do? They give you elastic computing, right? When you peak, it will enable you to support your peaks and troughs of business. Similarly, if we can offer everything like a shared service, the point I said, like marketing is a shared service, where an SME or an individual or as a small company may not afford that service on their own, but it is, if it's available as a shared service, I think it can really sort of change the game. And there's tremendous innovation. If I may share a nice example, what's happening in the SME sector, I read about this. It seems in Japan, there was this soap manufacturing industry, and one soap dish got shipped without a soap in it. Now what did they do? This is a huge quality issue in Japan, right? The production engineer committed harakiri, right? They take this with a lot of ownership. And they went and bought a $60,000 machine which would x-ray the assembly line, and robotic arm would come in, pull up the soap dish and throw it in the dustbin if it detects an empty dish going on the assembly line. It seems the same problem happened in a soap manufacturing unit in Gujarat, the SME. What did they do? They bought an 800 rupees fan, put it in front of the assembly line, empty boxes would get blown away. The point is that innovation, first of all, need not be expensive. You don't need a $60,000 solution to solve the basic issues in life. And the second point underlying here is really the SME, which, if you look at the pyramid, a new startup has capital issues. To your point, they struggle to get capital, they struggle to get funding.
top of the line, if you see the big conglomerates, corporates, they tend to get little complacent once they grow into scale. It's the SME which is hungry, and they're in the middle of the pyramid, and they have an appetite and an opportunity to really grow. So that's my point.
So let's take this from one Rakesh to another Rakesh, Mr. Rakesh Singh of Aditya Birla Finance. You've been hearing out everybody. Your industry has already been very well represented.
Completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
But talk to us from Aditya Birla Finance's perspective. Again, it's an industry which is not the most difficult to digitally transform. But I'm sure even in the BFSI space, it has its own challenges when it comes to completely transforming themselves digitally, right?
No, completely. I think the way we look at digital transformation is it provides businesses to really think and operate like digital companies and not the way we spoke about ROIs. I think we have to look at the business models which are based on the digital. How do we really end-to-end provide rather than just doing a tick box and say we will provide this process digitally? I think time has come where you have to look at the business end-to-end which is digital. And especially for a financing business, if you look at, and you spoke about the SMEs and the financial inclusion, look at in 1970 we nationalized our banks, and one of the logic and rationale was to provide banking to all the entire population. And today 40% of our population doesn't have a bank account, 60% of our SMEs don't have access to formal credit. How do you really reach out to these SMEs across such a vast and diverse country and really provide them a solution?
Coming up with business models which are digital, which means that you need to have a workforce that is thinking digital and doing digital, and that's where I'm going to bring in Mr. Debshankar Mukhopadhyay. All of this means that you need to have these think tanks within companies which are thinking digital, which are not just looking to convert old businesses into new age businesses. It's about how to do business 50 years from now, and you start doing that right now, and for that it will start with thinking. And to start with thinking, they need to be thought about it in the first place, right?
It's not about technology transformation, I believe. It's more about habits. A case in point would be the demonetization that happened. Look how difficult it is to change habits. If you look at it from that perspective, if you look at the curriculum, for example, does cyberbullying is anywhere featured there? Do we talk about cyber security? A lot of children use a lot of tools, correct? So therefore, I think we will have to start at a school level, okay? And this has to be a part of the curriculum as they grow up. I have, by the way, I'm proud to say that we have a program which is called a Digital Citizenship Program that is successfully being run across all our schools, and it is widely appreciated. However, if you look at the entire gamut of education, I think it is still not a priority for most educational institutions. It does not feature in terms of talking about it, discussing about it, teaching kids. And if you don't do that, I think we are only setting up for failure. I think the time has come, okay, to revisit, because remember, education is fairly highly regulated. It's on the concurrent list of both the state as well as for the center. And therefore, while we require support from the government, I think industry and education institutions have to come together to create a curriculum which talks about these fundamental issues as we go forward.
I think great point of views, varied point of view, because we had a eclectic mix of all of you from a different industry segments. So the substance stance of the digital transformation and what does it comprise of? What are the steps? What can we learn from each other as an industry, as a peer group, as leaders? So Krishna, your closing remarks on this.
There are both opportunities and challenges, both of which need to be recognized at this point in time, and more such discussions will only help the understanding of both the opportunities and the challenges equally. It doesn't, one size fits all approach just doesn't work specifically in the digital transformation age. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here. It's been wonderful being a part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.